Jared Monsheen from the US Studies Centre. Jared, how does this impeachment compare to those that we've seen in the past? Of course, Clinton and Johnson historically were the previous presidents who've been impeached.
That's right. This is only the third time. A lot of people think Nixon was impeached, but actually he resigned before he could be formally impeached. So in terms of how this compares, I think the Johnson vote some time ago, it was actually really close in the Senate vote. The two-thirds majority was almost there. He actually only stayed in office by one vote. Now with Clinton, it was not as close in 1998. It was pretty clear from the outset that the Senate wasn't going to move very much against him. And while the Republican-dominated House voted to impeach him, the Senate did not. And so in terms of how this compares, I think it will actually be similar to the Clinton vote in that the House vote to impeach is all but assured, but the Senate vote is assured as well in terms of not convicting President Trump.
When it comes to the political fallout from this, there has been a lot of discussion around the fact that this could fire up the Trump support base, the idea that he is under attack and it is a witch hunt. Is that playing out, or is this not having the impact on the polling that you might expect, especially when you've got Fox News releasing a poll saying that most people think the president should be impeached?
It's a great question, because there are actually two polls that have been pretty significant in the past couple days. One is a polling company called Quinnipiac at Quinnipiac University. They saw that Trump's approval rating is actually higher than it has been in some years, at 43%. So amidst everything going on, his approval rating is going up. And then CNN also came out with a poll saying that approval, or people who want to see him impeached and removed from office, that decreased from 50 to 45%. So it shows that as much as the evidence has, in my opinion, become overwhelming and clearer and stronger for what the sort of impeachable offenses, the people do not see it. And as was said before, this is a political process but it has legal ramifications. And so the political message that the Democrats are trying to send, it's not going in their favor. So as much as Fox News may be surprised that 50% of the country in their poll wanted to see him, President Trump, impeached, it's still, I don't think, enough to actually merit any significant change in what is to be expected in the Senate in terms of him not being convicted and not being removed.
And Jared, the way that the mechanics of this works is, just if you can clear it up for our viewers, basically the House representatives acting almost like a prosecutor in a way, presenting the case, and the Senate acts as the jury, although
Exactly.
The jury, in this case, senators don't have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. There's no procedural requirement of that sort. As you alluded to earlier, this is as much a political judgment as it is a hearing of a case.
Exactly, you nailed it. It has all the hallmarks of a legal case where you have a Supreme Court justice presiding over it, and that Supreme Court justice is going to be wearing his robe. It's going to look, professional and formal, but it really is down in the dirty politics, like everything else in Washington these days. And so it is really coming down to the political decisions that these senators want to make. And it's important to note, why is the Senate different? It's because the Senate term of office is 6 years, and 1/3 of the Senate is up for election at a time. And it doesn't look like that the senators up for election in November 2020 are really feeling the heat, or at least the Republican senators. I don't think they're really feeling the heat to convict the president.
Is there any chance we could see any Republicans cross the floor in the Senate, or is this just basically a fait accompli?
Well, as was said before, I think there is maybe a chance that Republicans go for this, but are there going to be 67 senators altogether? That would require 20 Republican senators to go against President Trump. And I just don't think that would happen. There was one interesting tidbit. The constitutionality of this impeachment trial in the Senate, it leaves it up to the Senate to decide how to do it, really. If they really wanted to, they could do a secret ballot. And I think in that case, the president would probably have some of his well-known enemies who although they don't want to go against him in public, but maybe in private they'd want to vote against him. You could see that in a secret trial. But Mitch McConnell, the Senate majority leader, has made clear that he does not want to do that. He wants this to be clear, transparent, and really just done quickly.
Yeah, and fundamentally you can see why they want it done. I think both sides, but particularly the Democrats, want this done before they enter the presidential season, with the Iowa caucuses just a bit over a month away.
That's right. The elephant in the room in all of this is the Democrats want to learn the lesson that the Republicans learned in 1998. The conventional wisdom is that in 1998, when the Republicans were impeaching Bill Clinton, that was in late 1998, and then in November of 98, there was a midterm election, and the Democrats actually did really well. It was seen, the conventional wisdom is that the Republicans were overreaching and making the impeachment process too partisan, too political, and it wasn't worthy. What Clinton did was not worthy of impeachment. Now, what I think goes against that conventional wisdom is 2 years later, you had George Bush elected as U.S. president. And so it shows that maybe as much as the midterm elections did not go the Republicans' way, you could say that maybe the rest of the country really chose a different direction altogether 2 years later with the election of George Bush. Now, obviously, the U.S. election president, as you said, is just a couple months away at this point. So we'll see how that changes things there. But I think everyone, both Democrats and Republicans, are hoping that this is cleared sooner rather than later.